Hi, everyone. Throughout a great many cultures and literatures, there is the concept of the devil. Now, Lucifer is written about in the Bible, of course, and passages in Isaiah and elsewhere suggest that this subject is a real being. But Lucifer is also discussed in the Urantia book, as well as in literature such as Dante's Inferno, John Milton's Paradise Lost, Ovid's Metamorphoses, and the list goes on and on.
In his mind, he's a mastermind. His mind is incredible, just also horrible. Wow. Congratulations on mastering that.
The subject is so dark. His energy is just so vast and wide. It spreads so far.
He's got many followers.
The devil is supposed to be some subject who was once a powerful and positive personality who eventually decided to reject the notion of there being an all-powerful God, which everyone had to worship. The devil wanted equality with that all-powerful God, and he engaged in what we might call self-deification. That was his primary sin, to think of himself as equal to God.
So it's almost like there's these two towers, these two pillars of influence, these two sides, and they're built up by, like, I guess, the collective beliefs in whatever this archetype and that archetype represent. And so SA, conflict with this group conflict with SA. They don't have a very healthy relationship. It's that killer, it just feels hostile. It just feels not good. And it feels like they use proxies to do battle. It feels like their arguments, their conflicts, the places where they butt heads are like with these guys.
Well, we at Farsight have long determined that subjects and events that are described in spiritual texts and which appear consistently in folklore often have some basis in reality. But the reality is often buried under centuries of personification and storytelling. Basically, it becomes impossible to separate the true elements of such ancient things from the myths. Also at Farsight, in a great many of our projects, we have noticed that our galaxy has been the scene of a great deal of trouble over the millions of years. There was what appears to have been a galaxy-wide holocaust that destroyed worlds and caused more suffering than one can imagine. We have also noticed that there appears to be a lot of true stuff relating to that trauma that is buried in modern-day fiction, such as with the Star Wars movies, especially the first 6 Star Wars movies that were written by George Lucas. Perhaps through subtle memory of past lives lived elsewhere, or through the purposeful telepathic insertion of ideas into the minds of human writers, a lot of fiction seems to be grounded in a lot of real stuff. So this Lucifer idea seemed like a natural thing for our remote viewers to investigate. Was he real? And if so, who was he? And what did he do? We wanted to find out. And wow, did we find out.
About this other guy is as powerful. He wants to be, but it's just the thought of whatever he's thinking is just as, or even, well, not as much, just as evil or just as negative. His mentality is negative, his mentality is negative, but his mentality is negative just because he's inspired by them. Like, he's secretly inspired by how negative this guy is and how he can do whatever he does even better. And he just watches everything that he does and tries to plan out his own plans that no one really cares about. He's not well known enough for anybody to care about his plans, but this guy has people following him and just adoring him because they think he's a really smart or really good person. He appears nice, but mentally he's not happy. He's dissatisfied with a lot of things, and whatever he's working on, whatever project he's doing, he's just very serious about it. He's doing it with a focused gathering of people inside of this large location. And his plans fail.
It so turns out that the Lucifer personality is a real thing. He is a real subject. Moreover, he was responsible for a lot of stuff. He was not a minor personality. He was a big guy, a leader with a dark personality. Moreover, his personality seems to have been not entirely accidental. He was not just a good guy gone bad. He seems to have been a created personality, a creation with a purpose. So his personality seems to have elements that we have been studying here at Farsight for quite some time. Elements that we like to call Sith stuff, or service to self.
I'm sensing from Subject E that Subject A is not directly connected to the reptilians, but they're inspired by him.
So these subjects right here, because there's a lot of them, to me it kind of feels like it's an army. There's just too many of them and they're all similar looking. So I was deducting like army for this, what I was seeing here. And again, that kind of ties into like how I'm feeling, that it's really not nice. It's destruction and conquest.
At this point, I want to state point blank that Princess Genet is one of the most talented telepaths in remote viewing today. She has demonstrated time and again an ability to communicate telepathically with subjects being remote viewed with a level of depth that has never before been achieved by any other remote viewer to my knowledge. Well, this project was no exception. Moreover, if you think in spiritual terms, in the sense that there are many advanced beings who are way up the chain of command in the universe, what we have in this project from Princess is probably one of the highest levels of communication that has ever been achieved by anyone, anywhere, anytime. After she describes the Lucifer personality, she shifts to the highest level personality opposed to Lucifer and, well, you just have to witness this level of communication for yourself. What is the future of Lucifer? It is not possible to kill any being in this universe, so Lucifer will always continue to exist. When he loses his followers, when his followers become aware of who he really is, he will simply move on to other pastures, other worlds where his influence is not yet known, and chaos will follow. So, where are we now that we know more about the Lucifer personality? One thing is clear. Just serving others leads to a lack of vision for society. A vision of what the future can be is needed in order to create a greater version of ourselves. Total service to others leads to the worship of the status quo, the continual respect of others and their individual visions of what they want. The raw personality, who we have studied in the past, is correct about one thing. Free will without a unifying vision can lead to confusion. On the other hand, total service to self leads to the Lucifer personality. Plenty of vision, but no consideration for the happiness or betterment of others. Either end of this polarized spectrum is a dead end.